part 2 of the 67 to 72 manual steering conversion. My other video messed up a little bit. But like I was saying, this shaft in this steering box for the 67 to 72 is different from the 66 and back. Now I got lucky. I bought this steering box on eBay for 55 bucks. And it's still tight. It's not hardly any play in it. Even if it is, you can adjust it up here. But you want to adjust it a certain amount so that when you turn the steering wheel, it's not binding or rough or anything. Now what you need to do to convert it, first thing I would do is get on eBay and find you a steering box just like this one. Just find the cheapest one you can get, because to be honest, it really ain't a whole lot that can go wrong with them. They do wear out. Seals can leak. There's one here and there's one under here. And they can get a little bit of play, but find a good one on there that's still pretty tight. I get 55 bucks for that, so buy that. I got this rag joint for my Chevy, and it's actually the same splines. And pretty much all the steering columns GM had after 67 to, I believe, 72 were basically the same. These are the collapsible steering columns. This rag joint will not work on a 66 and back. This is made for a collapsible column. And all a collapsible column is if you ever get in a wreck, this column is designed so if it gets hit anywhere through here in the front of this box or anything on the frame, this column is designed to slide back so that it doesn't come through the steering column and basically hurt you. That's what that column is basically designed for. Now this is $30 at AutoZone. They're very inexpensive. They're not that bad. Comes with the grease fitting. And one little thing you want to do too is always mark on this shaft. It's 4 different ways you can put this on here, but it's only one way that's correct. Now you can turn this shaft and put it on here, but it's only this way. This is the only way it will work. Now, the best way to do this, to be honest, is to put this pitman arm first with the steering box off. That's much easier to do, and as well as putting the new rag joint on. Makes it a lot easier to do that way while the box is off. And then what you want to do is before you bolt the steering box, when you bring it under here, you want to take this pitman arm right here and put this into the drag link first. And then line this up here. Now it's got 2 different bolts. It's got the small one right here, and it's got one right here. And you want to basically line all that up. So that you can bolt the steering box up to the frame. I tried to bolt the steering box to the frame and then put this pitman arm on, and it was a little bit difficult to do. So I just put this in first, line this up, then bolted it to the frame. Now I used a little bit of Loctite on my bolts. They are 5/8 bolts. And there's 3 of them, one here, and one above there. 4th one, don't even worry about. And something else you want to do is make sure you got a clean surface on the steering box and the frame, because the horn is actually ground through the steering box into the frame. Otherwise your horn won't work right. It's a little copper piece that's in here on this side, on the small bolt over here. You got to make sure it's a clean surface so your horn will work properly, as well as your turn signals. And the other reason why I converted this is I do not have the accessory holes in the heads. rather than spend $500 on another steering box, a power steering pump, and power steering brackets, this is another reason why I put manual steering on it, to eliminate all them issues. Now, I got double hump heads, and of course, as most people know, double humps do not have accessory holes. That was another reason why I wanted to eliminate the power steering. That's basically my situation right there. And the steering box that was on here was leaking really bad, as well as the power steering pump. And the power steering brackets, there's one that bolts underneath the motor mount. And I could not get the right tension on the belt, and I kept running into problems where I didn't have the right brackets. So I just decided to do away with it. And honestly, manual steering is not that bad. It's really not. Because by the time I put new ball joints on here and everything's greased and get it front in alignment, this thing will actually steer just as good as it did before. But that was the main reason why I was doing it. Now I'm going to come back later and order a new fan guard and put on here. And put a new, and change my pulleys out. Maybe. I might just leave them. But this was the reason why I was going to manual steering. It was just throwing my pulleys off. I couldn't get the right belt. I don't have the accessory holes. Now they do sell brackets out there that you can put a long water pump on this and move the alternator from the driver's side to over here, and they don't require accessory holes. And you can get the power steering pump the same way. But rather than spend $500 on all that stuff, to me, it's just a better deal just to go on and just put manual steering on it. That way it eliminates everything, and I just, honestly, I prefer manual steering better. Everybody's different, but I like manual steering better. And keep in mind, I'm still working on this motor. I know it's rough. I got this truck through Craigslist. And everybody out there, you need to be very careful about Craigslist, because I got screwed on this truck. This truck needed major work. Now, look over the valve covers. I did the valve covers like that. I'm going to put the other Proform valve cover on this side when I get a chance. I got this other valve cover right here for this side to the match. I just did that temporary, just so it will quit leaking. That was one major problem I had with this thing. As soon as I took the old valve covers off and put the new valve covers on, it started leaking oil, seeping out really extremely bad. But that's another story for another day. Now let me show you what I was talking about on the alignment, where your control arm shaft goes into. That little pin right there has got to be lined up on the shaft. That shaft has got to be turned up. That little dot that's on that shaft has got to be turned facing towards the front of the truck. Let me show you what I'm talking about in part 3.